Good beautiful people, I'm your host King Lion of Locks, and we are going to be doing my review of The Batman with The Batman 2022 with Robert Patterson. I recently had seen this movie about 2-3 weeks ago, probably I think 2 weeks ago. I just hadn't had the chance to actually review the movie due to work and other things to that nature. Without further ado, let's get into it. So first thing we start off with, do my take of the movie. To be honest with you guys, the movie was good. It's just the Batman parts were bad. The supporting actors were the best parts of the movie, I thought. Batman and Bruce Wayne, the little part that Bruce Wayne was in the movie just was not giving Batman the Batman. It was giving more like Catwoman and Commissioner Gordon. Like all the supporting characters, they put in more effort into this Batman movie than the actual Batman. And this is not from someone that hated Robert Pattinson as Batman or even think that he was a bad Batman because he came from Twilight, which he's done other good movies. So that guy was Robert Pattinson is a good actor. Just as the Batman, I'm not sure if he was either going putting his own take on it, if the director told him to do something, or he just wanted to put his own spin, like Christian Bale did with the raspy voice. But without further ado, we can go to the review of the movie or the recap. So first things first is that the main villain of this movie is the Riddler, and a lot of people wanted it to be Jim Carrey as the Riddler, but instead we got something else. We got a Gimp. We got a Gimp in a green outfit with a duct tape mask on. I'll probably have a picture of him somewhere so that way you guys can see what he looks like. But yeah, he was a Gimp basically. So the first thing is that we're into a scenery where the mayor of Gotham is watching a playback of a newsfeed where they're basically telling him the newsfeed is saying that there's a corruption in Gotham, yada yada yada, that they're trying to figure out where this corruption is going from. And as always, there's a crooked politician. The mayor is the crooked politician. And as he's talking to someone on the phone, the Riddler is right behind him, just standing there menacingly. The guy doesn't see him up until it's too late, where the Riddler then knocks him in the back of the head, beats him up with a carpenter knife. It's not really a knife, but it's a thing that carpenters use to bring up carpets, and then tapes him up. After that has happened, we realize we take a scenery look of Gotham, the new Gotham, which I will say that this Gotham I do like. Granted, it's still Gotham in any literature. Dark, gloomy, and always fucking raining. Not entirely sure why it's always raining in Gotham, but it's always raining in Gotham. I feel like they don't need weathermen besides the fact to tell you that there is crime, but it's always raining. Today is gonna be raining. Tomorrow is gonna be raining. A few months from now, it's gonna be raining. We also find out that Gotham has a serious ICP, Insane Clown Posse, for those that don't know, problem, where everyone is dressed up in Insane Clown Posse makeup, whether they're trying to be like part of the Jokers, which I like that take of it from it being like the Dark Knight comic books Batman, or the Batman Beyond Batman, where there's a Joker group now. There's I guess more so Batman Beyond, where there's just the Jokers. They're just Jokers everywhere. There's not a official Joker. Side note, after this reviewing, we will watch the deleted scenes to the Joker. Apparently there was a Joker deleted scenes in the Batman that wasn't there in the original movie. So we're gonna watch that later. We get to one of the big scenes that they played heavily in the trailer, where people don't know where Batman's coming from, where he's in the shadows. Every shadowy area, they're afraid that they're going to see the Batman, or they're not going to see the Batman, which I don't know why they're so terrified because of not seeing him or not knowing that he's in the shadows, because this man had the heaviest boots any Batman has ever had. Like the scene where the Jokers are beating up on this guy, and one guy looks over, he has like half Joker makeup, half normal. I guess it's like a initiation. He was like, his initiation was to go beat up on a random person, and they decided to beat up on this old man. And as they're planning to beat him up, they hear big boots stepping in, and it's Robert Pattinson's 150 pounds. He's not really 150 pounds, but that's how he looks like in the movie. 150 pounds ass just walking up all swole like, and he's like, "Who are you?" And he beats up on the guy and does the whole "I am vengeance" thing. But I swear to you guys, the trailer added more bass and more gain and trouble into that hits than the actual movie. I'm like, okay, there's not enough connecting. Like the blows don't sound like they're blowing. They sound like it's like eh, I am vengeance. And so he goes proceeds to beat up on these guys. Um, and after he gets them beat up on these guys, he goes home, and that's when we find out that Robert Pattinson is Bruce Wayne. He is the Batman. His take of Batman is, and again, I know I said that I don't have a problem with him because of the fact that he was in Twilight. I know people did, but his rendition of Batman or Bruce Wayne Batman is just Edward. It's just that, like he's moody and gloomy. He's moody and gloomy. When he was back home and he was telling people, like, and he was doing his inner monologue thing, he was like, yeah, some days I have to like he has special lenses in his eyes to replay anything that he misses, right? So he's like, some days I have to go back and watch these videos of me just so that way I know I'm human and know what I've done, because I'll forget what I've done. Like he forgets that he beat up on these people so badly. Small as fuck too. I know that they're saying that this is Batman. If this is in order, this is supposed to be Ben Affleck's Batman before he got older and swoller. And I know Robert Pattinson said he really didn't want to build muscle up for this role. He wanted to be a sleek, slim Batman, which that's fine. That's fine if he wanted to be like a slim built Batman. If that's the case, then I need him to be able to bob and weave like Bruce Lee, because in this movie he took a lot of hits that he did not need to take. Like there are scenes which we'll get to in the movie where he just got beat up way more than he needed to. Hell, even like in the Batman, like I'm trying to think of any Batman shows or like animations where Batman would weave and move around. Like that's the whole thing. Like Batman is like a blur. Like for a man that doesn't have powers, you would think he had powers. And Robert Pattinson did not give me that essence. He literally took hits. Yes, he did take hits some of the time, but he didn't really bob and weave. He just literally just stood there and took it. Like he needed to feel something, and that was like emotional blow, I guess. Like he needed to feel getting hit to feel something, because he just was so edgy and so dark. It was, I don't know. It just wasn't. I really wasn't fucking with him. Personally, I hate the suits. I hated the suits. I hated the Batman suit. I hated the Riddler suit. I kind of fucked with Catwoman suit a little bit. Only because the last one we had was Anne Hathaway's suit, which she really didn't look like Catwoman. She just looked like a burglar with goggles that if you flip them up, they kind of look like cat ears. But Catwoman's suit, she actually had on the black outfit and like some and like a ski mask that kind of looked up like it had ears. I kind of fuck with that. Robert Pattinson's Batman suit, I wasn't a fan of it. Jack Blade, which shout out to him. He's a fitness, anime, and comic book enthusiast. He mentioned it before in his taking of the show, well, not the show, of like the recent Batmans, that there is no need for him to have noticeable plate armor on. Like the whole thing of the mythos or the thing about Batman is that he scares people because they're not sure if he's human or not. Like early Batman, like people weren't aware if he was human, if he was a superhuman, if he was a demon, whatever. They just know that whenever they shot him, he was able to take it. Sometimes they couldn't shoot him because he would move around too fast. But I feel like in recent renditions of Batman, we've kind of went away from the skin type outfit with a little bit of plating to full on body armor plating, which it defeats the purpose. Like, yeah, I can clearly see that shooting this man does absolutely nothing unless I'm using like a armor piercing rifle, fucking sniper, or a bazooka. That's just a random handgun or a Glock's not gonna do shit to him. So like, I see that, I'm not really fucking with that. I will say, like, the Arkham series, they kind of heavily enforced that with the upgrades to the Batman's armor, where you could see that the armor shifted and everything, which, shout outs to those games. Those kind of helped out because those the villains Batman was facing were stronger than your average thugs or villains. Because more often than not, yeah, you were mowing through the henchmen and the thugs, but you were fighting full on titans and fighting Scarecrow when he had his toxin Nova Clouds bullshit, or the Red Hood and his armor piercing bullets, and he knew exactly where to shoot you at. So that kind of made sense. This kind of doesn't. I kind of felt like they kind of gave him a cop out, or at least a reason for him to take so many hits. Never really understood that. The Riddler's outfit, I mentioned it before. He looks like a fucking gimp. Just in green outfit. He just looks like a gimp in green outfit and a duct tape mask, like a duct tape X over his face, like shh, you don't say nothing. I really didn't like that. With the tape over his mouth, the tape fetish, because he did have a bit of a tape fetish, because he taped up the mayor, he taped up someone else, and like I mentioned before, he has a tape X over his face. I noticed he has a weird tape fetish, and with that, it has him heavy breathing whenever he had the mask on. I don't know if that was just like, again, if that was just a direction that the directors told him to go with, if that was his own personal twist on it, or if he just couldn't fucking breathe in the mask. He was heavy breathing. Like, it was kind of hard to like feel intimidating when you hear Finster in the back just. The inner monologue from Batman, while it was cool for the first 5 minutes, constantly sounding edgy, like he's just always dark, it became kind of cheesy. I know that the whole goal was to make Bruce sound like he was just a loner, like he just didn't have no one, that, you know, no one loves him, no one cares about him. In comes in his butler telling him that, hey, Master Bruce, you know, you gotta be able to you gotta show yourself. People still love you. People care about you. You have your family image. And he's just like, no, Alfred, I don't care about that. I gotta go out and be brooding and mad. I really didn't fuck with that. Basically he sounded like a 90s black and white detective. Like Casablanca basically could have been Gotham. It could have been the hoteling of Gotham was Casablanca. I mentioned the edginess, knows no bound. Like, any chance he got, he was edgy as fuck. The fights, there was one fight scene where he breaks into the, not really so much breaks into, but he goes into the Penguins nightclub, or not Al Capone, Falcone's nightclub. And he goes in there 3 separate occasions, once as Batman and 2 different times as Bruce Wayne. Now, one of those times as Bruce Wayne, he should definitely win as Batman, but for fuck all, he went as Bruce Wayne. But the first time he went in Batman, he went in there and he told like the little henchmen they got their ass beat countless times, that, hey, I'm coming in here to see Penguin. They shut the door on him. This motherfucker knocks again and just walks in that bitch. Beats up on everyone for no reason. Since when does Batman take the fucking front door? Any other time, Batman goes through a window, finds another entrance, he finds another way to get inside. But no, this motherfucker wants to go through the front fucking door. He goes to the front door and has an unnecessary fight scene and beats up on people that are in the fucking club, up until where he gets to the Penguin. Which, shout out to the Penguin. This motherfucker is he's the dude that plays who played Bullseye from the Daredevil movie. You would not know that this man exists. Like, we'll talk about Catwoman for a minute. Let's talk about Catwoman for a minute. All right. So, what do you do when you combine Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz? You get the most beautiful woman in the world. Like, just like her character as Catwoman was fine as hell. Lemon lime in the summertime fine. Like, there was no reason that she was so fine in that movie. Like goddamn, mama was like, it was busting. It was just nah. Batman finally got his information that he got it from when he was able to get the information he got from the Penguin, asking him, hey, does he know anything about the Riddler? What is he doing? And the Penguin told him he knew absolutely nothing about the Riddler. That's when Catwoman came in, because she works at the club as a bartender or barista, or I think it's a bartender. I think that's the female term for a bartender, or a waitress. There we go. She dropped off some money and some drugs and she left. Batman followed her, but instead of following her as Batman, he decided to follow her as Bruce Wayne. Again, not entirely sure why. It seemed like Robert Pattinson, or we're gonna call him, we're just gonna say Bruce Wayne, did not like the suit that he was in because he was very rarely in it. He was in it in times when he needed to actually be Batman. For like interviews, or he needed to be somewhere with Commissioner Gordon. But in times where he needed to stalk someone or go into places that he should not have been in as Bruce Wayne, he went as Bruce Wayne. So he's tailing Catwoman, Selena Kyle, as Bruce Wayne in this bike, going fast as fuck with his helmet on. Granted, he looks like any other person in the bike, but the fact that he's still following her as Bruce Wayne is ridiculous. You should follow her as Batman, or fly away, or at least like find another way to track her. There are countless ways that Batman has been able to track people besides tailing them in civilian clothes. I never understood that. I did not understand why he kept doing that. After Batman had decided to work with Catwoman because Catwoman's friend had gone missing, and so they decided to work together, Catwoman told Batman that there is an underground club inside the club. Shocker, I know. So they work together. Batman gives her one of those special contacts so that way she can go down to the bottom levels of the club. Once she goes down to the bottom levels of the club, she meets one of the police officers, the current commissioner of the police officer. They're all doing drugs, and he talks to her and chats her up and let her know that, hey, I'm the commissioner. You know, we did something bad, and we have to, like, this Riddler guy is trying to sell us out, like let everyone know, bring the darkness to the light type shit, just let everyone know the truth about Gotham. And as Selena is trying to walk away from this guy because he's starting to become a little bit of a creep, we are introduced to Falcone. And Falcone is the secret agent guy that's been played in the Transformers movies. Again, I'll put a picture of what he is and his name. I honestly can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's actually a very funny guy. And I did like him for Falcone because in every renditions of Falcone, he's been like not a jokester, like a type of a joker, but a really funny, like not funny, but like a mob boss. Well, he's a mob boss, but he's like a mob boss, but like he has jokes and he knows secrets and shit. And so like when he talks up to like Selena Kyle, he's like, hey, I ain't seen you around here in a while. And she's like, yeah, I've been busy. He's like, oh, okay. Well, just stick around. And at the time we were thinking that, okay, maybe Catwoman had a thing with this man, or maybe she was just using him for an ulterior motive. We find out the reasons why later on, but at that point, Batman is grilling her, saying like, hey, why come you didn't tell me you've been down here, or how come you didn't tell me that you knew who he was? And she said, I told you I was at this club before, and that I had business here, but I no longer have business here. Say, okay, well, I need to know more. She said, no, I'm not gonna tell you anymore. She takes the little contact lenses out and just leaves. In the midst of her leaving and going upstairs back outside of the club, the original commissioner is still tailing her. So he goes up there and talks to her, tries to talk to her, and she says, no, I got my cab and I'm leaving. In the commissioner's car that he pointed to, the Riddler's in the car. And the Riddler's like hiding, ducking down, like he's like, please don't see me, please don't see me. And when the commissioner comes into his car and relaxes for a minute, the Riddler goes full Chucky, the Bride of Chucky, and like knocks him unconscious, ties him up, and puts a little shock collar around his neck. The next day, after Batman or Bruce, whichever one he's decided to be at this time, decides to wake up the next morning, and he gets a notice from Alfred. Alfred's telling him, which I did not mention, Alfred's character is played by, I can't remember his name. I just know he plays as one of the bad guys in Black Panther. But he was actually a good Alfred. I liked him as Alfred. He was really funny. He made a lot of jokes in the movie, as like terms about mentioning how Batman needs to show himself, or he has to present himself in a better way. He even helped Batman decipher a lot of Riddler's clues, which in other Batman movies, with I think exceptions to Batman v Superman and Batman v Superman, and I want to say Batman and Robin. When I think that Batman, or no, Batman Forever, most most Alfreds really didn't really um had a hand in helping Batman do anything. Yeah, they were there to keep the illusion that he was there, or that, like, keep the house together, but in terms of like actually getting their hands dirty, either fighting or solving crime with him, you would mostly see that in the animated series. You really never saw an actual live action Alfred do anything. So it was kind of nice to see this Alfred actually helping out. He was like helping him decipher the clues that the Riddler would leave behind. Um, but he was telling Batman that there is a funeral for one of Riddler's victims, the mayor. So once Bruce went there to go give his condolences to the mayor about dying, we get the scene where the former commissioner, busts in through the church of the funeral home with the bomb strapped to his neck, and as they are trying to figure out why he's there with the bomb strapped to his neck, and the note saying for the Batman, the phone is still ringing. The phone has been ringing there for about a good hour or so before Batman showed up. As Batman, and once he did show up, he came in through the darkest area, the darkest point of the funeral home. Boots loud as fuck, loud as fuck, and he goes and clicks the button, and Riddler, I guess he just got tired of waiting, because he left the little seat that he was at, and he had to run back over and had to talk to him. He's like, oh, this is what you look like. Oh, your costume looks amazing. I didn't have time to do mine all that well, but what do you think and everything? And you can see that the Riddler, or at least this rendition of the Riddler, has a fixation of Batman. He wants to prove himself to the Batman, almost in a way of the way that the Joker did. Like, they were trying to really make this Riddler more so the Joker than what I'm assuming is the actual Joker, which I have, again, we're gonna see that later. But yeah, they were making him seem more Joker like, where his whole goal, besides to bring everything to the light, was to please, or to like to just get some type of uh I want, like, best way I can describe it is like he had daddy issues, where he wanted to be noticed. He wanted him to notice him. Or notice me senpai syndrome. There we go. Notice me senpai syndrome, where he wanted Batman to notice him and give him like head pats, like, you did a good job type shit. Riddler tells the commissioner that if he tells how much they paid him to be quiet about what the fuck they did, he will let him go. Give him a number. He gave a round amount, a number of how much they paid him, and he said, okay, fine, I'll take that. Now, if you tell us who the rat is, I'll let you go. And he said, no, I won't do that. They'll kill me if I did. And he said, you'll die here. And he said, I don't care. And Batman is really close to this guy, like, not in terms of like physical, like, not in terms of like spiritually or like emotionally, no, physically. Like, the commissioner is here, Batman is here, the bomb is ticking, like, he has like 2 minutes left, not 2 minutes, 2 seconds left. The bomb, he has made his bed, he's made his peace with God, he is prepared to die. The bomb blows up, Batman gets flown from here to all the way fuck all over there to the tables and chairs of the funeral home, and gets knocked the fuck out. Does he die? No, because that, I guess you could say that armor is like bomb proof, or whatever you say. But this motherfucker gets blown so far that he gets knocked the fuck out. The police officers take him to the police department, and they're all hovering around him like, what should we do? What should we do? How about we take the fucking mask off him? And like, as they try to take the mask off, he wakes up and he's like, no, and he beats up on one of the police officers. And this is when the new commissioner Gordon, or I guess the new commissioner Gordon, comes in, and he says, hold on, y'all, I got this. I'll stop him. And this is one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie. Is he's like, give me a minute to rough this motherfucker up. You guys go. You guys leave for a second. And so all the police officers like, okay, sure, we'll let Gordon handle this. They all leave, and Gordon leans up to him, is like, we gotta get you out of here, he said. And so Batman's like, How do you plan to do that? There's a key in my pockets. I need you to hit me hard as you can. Take it and leave. You know they'll get you for this. Is that yeah? If you make it look convincing, they won't. And Batman proceeds to tell him right before it hits him. He was like, "Hey, you know that guy over there? He was at the underground bar with the Penguin." And he's like, "Oh, really?" And he said, "Yeah." And he just socks him in the face and takes the key and runs away. That motherfucker takes the key and dip after knocking Gordon the fuck out, which was fucking hilarious. Almost as funny as the next scene that they did, where Batman goes up to the top of the GCPD building, turns into a fucking squirrel suit and flies away and hits his fucking head on one of the bridges, or at least the under part of the bridges, hits that motherfucker, falls down and walks it off like he didn't even like smack his shit. Like Batman in any other shows or the animated series or even in the movies, he didn't have a fucking squirrel suit. He just used his cape as a glider. So the fact that they gave him a fucking squirrel suit and he couldn't even land that bitch right without fucking his shit up had me dying. I was so upset. I've laughed at that shit out of frustration because first off, I wanted to leave at that point. Once I saw him get hit, I wanted to leave, but I already paid my $22 to go see this bitch in Doobie's Cinema, where the colors were brighter, the sounds were better, and I was like, okay, I paid all this money for this movie, it better be good. And I'm like, this is hot ass. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna still sit it out because it could get better. We're at the only hour mark of a 2 hour and 59-minute movie, which again, it's almost 3 hours. I don't know why they couldn't, why it needed to be 3 hours, but the bitch is almost 3 hours long. We find out that we find out that one, the Penguin is lying about something else. That he's not telling us the whole truth. That we need to figure out who this rat is of Gotham. And as we try and figure out who this rat is, after Batman leaves the GCPD building, walks off his concussion, he goes back to the building again to talk to Gordon. And he lets Gordon know that, hey, before the original commissioner died, he said that there was something about a rat. And it was like rats with wings. And they were trying to piece together what rats with wings were. And however they came up with it, they came up with the Penguin. Don't ask me how they came up with rats with wings as a penguin. And you know, it was a better way, I guess, a better way of how they described it. The detective work for Batman, he leaned on a lot of people for being the world's greatest detective. He needed the help from a lot of other people to help him be the world's greatest detective. So Commissioner Gordon was like, well, you know, the Penguin is a rat with wings. And he says, okay, we'll go talk to the Penguin again. And so this time they go find Penguin and Catwoman. And Catwoman at this time is at this harbor beating up on the same security guards that were at the nightclub. And Batman is there and he's like, hey, we can't do this. Is that she's like, I'm leaving town. I just needed to get some money and to go find my friend. And as she's trying to get the money that's in the back of Penguin's car, she finds her friend that's dead. She just been stuffed in the duffel bag in the back of Penguin's truck. At that moment, this is where the Penguin shoots up the back of the truck and yelling at the Batman and Catwoman that you try to steal from me, I'm gonna shoot you. Batman is knocked out. Shocker. This is I will say the second time in this movie this motherfucker has been KO from an explosion, from a ricochet gunfire, what have you. This motherfucker gets knocked out more often. He got knocked out more often than in this movie, than when you fuck up in the cut scenes or the quick action, the little button pressing things in the Batman Telltale games. When you fuck up on that and he gets knocked out, or even in the games in the Arkham Knight series where you don't do something right, or even when you just stumble in the bunk ass thugs see you and they shoot you and you get knocked down. He gets knocked out way more in this movie. So Batman's knocked out on the ground. Catwoman's like, hey, you need to get up. You need to get up. And she just fucks off and leaves him. And as Penguin walks around and tries to like see if he's there, we get a picture. We get the cut to the Batmobile. And the Batmobile, I will say, is another great part of this movie. the Batmobile scene, I ain't never, and I will say this in any of the shows, I ain't in any of the Batman media, I have never seen the Batmobile either make a motherfucker flinch and run away or it's stalled out. I'm going with because I want to give this movie its flowers. This motherfucker had this bike. He had this car do the and stop for me. It dead as it went forward for like a half an inch and stopped. And these motherfuckers cut out. They was like, oh shit, we don't want none of this. And so Penguin got into his car and he drove off, and Batman was following with him. And it cuts to the scene from the trailer, the other badass scene of the movie where they're doing a little race down Gotham, and Penguin thinks he got away because he caused a big explosion, and Batman goes through the explosion and he's like, oh shit. And again, the sound effects through the trailer did more justice to the movie than the actual movie itself. They capture Penguin, they tie him up at the little pier downtown in Gotham, and they're interrogating him about how what are rats with wings, and does he know anything about what the Riddler is talking about. And I don't remember the word that was used because it was in Spanish, but they used the wrong enunciation for it, where they use L and not la. And the Penguin himself, had to explain to them, not only the newly commissioner, I'll give you that, but the world's greatest detective, he had to give them a Spanish lesson on the difference between L and la. First off, how you gonna let the Penguin give you a Spanish lesson if you're supposed to be the world's greatest? Your intelligence is like second to Sherlock Holmes, but you didn't know the difference between L and la? Like, it's not, what's not clicking with me. That was another part. I literally audibly had my hands up in the air, like, really? You needed the Penguin to tell you to, you know what, we're gonna move on because I'm getting heated again remembering that. As Batman is going home because they got their information, they realize that they got the wrong person. It's not Penguin, it's someone else. As Batman is going home, Penguin tells Batman that Thomas Wayne was also involved in this issue, which I will say I liked that take of this movie, because they heavily did it in the Batman Telltale games, and they kind of did it a little bit in the Joker movie, where the Waynes are not as holier than thou than everyone make them out to be. They got some skeletons in their closet as well. And as Batman is driving home, he lets Alfred, she's trying to call Alfred and let him know that, hey, be careful, someone's probably coming after you. And his maid, Bruce Wayne's maid, picks up the phone and she says, Master Bruce, you're already too late. And that's when we get a cut to Alfred picking up going through the mail, and one of the envelopes in the mail was a bomb that the Riddler had set up, and it exploded. Luckily, Alfred he didn't die from it, but he is in a coma from the explosion. And so that one kind of stuck with, that one kind of hit me, because I was like, damn, I didn't think they were gonna actually kill off Alfred, because I want to say at this point we're at the 2-hour mark. And if this is supposed to be like a continuation for this, like it's supposed to be another one coming out, I don't think they were going to kill Alfred off this soon this soon. I figured that maybe worst case scenario is he's in a coma. He may lose his memory. But I didn't think they were going to kill him off. As Alfred's in his coma and the house is destroyed, Batman, or Bruce Wayne, he doesn't know how to deal with this, so he becomes even more edgy. He tries to piece together what sins his father could have done that made the Riddler think he deserves to be targeted now. Because the sins of the father, it goes down to the son. And they find out that Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne actually had some issues. Martha Wayne had mental issues, and while Thomas was trying to run for, I think he was trying to run for mayor, just like he did in the Joker movie, one newscast reporter found out that Martha had some mental issues, that she may have allegedly killed her parents. Thomas tried to keep the man quiet, and he did so the best way he could, where he even asked Falcone to keep the man quiet. Falcone owed him a favor because when Falcone had got shot or stabbed, he went to Thomas Wayne to get fixed up, get stitched up, and so he basically Falcone owed him a debt. And so upon finding this out, Batman was upset, and he waited till Alfred woke up from his coma, and immediately this motherfucker literally had been waiting there for at least, for what it seemed like for us, about 5-10 minutes. I don't know how long he was waiting there at the hospital for Alfred to wake up, but as soon as Alfred woke up, like, Alfred was like, "Ah, Master Bruce, it's good to see you're okay. I'm sorry I'm in a coma. I'll get right on helping you just in a second. Do you need some water? Do you need anything? Like, I'm sorry I'm in this coma. Like, but I'm better now." Bruce hits this motherfucker with, "You lied to me about my father. How come you didn't tell me that he worked for Falcone? Did he actually have this man kill him? Like this man has worked for you. He has raised you. You have done nothing since the start of this movie, has done nothing but put Alfred down and just told him, like, you're not my father. I don't need you. You're nothing to me." And then when he comes out of his coma, you then proceed to grill him. You don't give him time to wake up. You don't tell him, like, how much you're worried about him, like kiss his ass, no nothing. Just start grilling him about your father that is dead now, and what type of man he was. It really pissed me off. It really did. It really did. I didn't like that. I hated how he treated Alfred. So, like, yeah, he really wasn't giving me World's Greatest Detective vibes. He was giving me, like, World's runner-up detective, World's third place detective, like, participation detective, thanks for trying detective. He wasn't giving me World's Greatest Detective. But yeah, he, like I mentioned before, they basically went to a time capsule, sent us back to Twilight, plucked Edward from Twilight, and told him, "Hey, you want to be Batman?" He said, "Well, I'm already a vampire. Good, you know how to be Batman," and made him be Batman. Like, Robert Pattinson has done other. I mentioned this before. Robert Pattinson has done other roles as other characters, not superhero characters, but other movies. So I know he can act, but I feel like they just told him to be Edward from Twilight, and he was like, "Well, I've already been Edward from Twilight, so I guess I could do that again." And that's how we got Bruce Wayne in this movie. Security guards are ass. They're twins, and they suck ass. Like, the second time Bruce Wayne had went in to see Falcone was when he went in to ask Falcone, "Hey, did my father actually ask you to kill this man?" And Falcone told him that, "Yeah, your father told me to keep this man quiet." He was like, "By any means necessary." And when he told him the means necessary, he went in. Falcone made it seem like his father was happy that this man was dead because he asked him to take care of this. And again, that's when Batman Bruce went to talk to Alfred out of his coma and told him, how dare you tell me this, that my father was a good man, and he wasn't actually a good man. And Alfred had to tell him that, shocking, Falcone's a fucking liar. That, no, your father did tell him to keep him quiet, but when he found out that he killed the man, he told him he wanted nothing to do with him about this. That he was going to go to the police and tell the police that his involvement and what Falcone did. And Bruce was like, "So Falcone had my father killed?" And Alfred was like, "Duh, the mob boss wanted to keep your father quiet by any means necessary. The same mob boss that had no problem killing the reporter. Of course he had no problem with killing your parents off, you fucking idiot. World's Greatest Detective, my ass. You believed anybody." Like, that upset me. It really did. It really upset me. So the third time he goes back to the club, a third time as Bruce Wayne. He knocks on the door, the twins come in, beaten the fuck up. One's eye is fucked up, the other one's bloody as hell. They look outside and say, I don't see nobody. So they walk away, And no, they don't walk away. They walk outside. And so instead of shutting the door, they come outside because they didn't see nobody. So it's like, damn kids, where are you at? And Bruce tiptoes around them and locks them out. He locks them outside. These are the worst security guards I have ever seen in my entire life. Anyway, he locks them out, goes inside, turns the power off. As he's turning the power off, he goes to the bottom level of the nightclub, takes Falcone, and sends him back up, and he's like, you're under arrest. And Commissioner Gordon is like, yeah. And Commissioner was like, yeah, you're going to jail for what you did. And Falcone was like, you think that do you think it's gonna stick? I run the police. I am the police, and every single police officer in the GCPD was waiting there. And it's like, yeah, but we got some good men. And they have him come out to the light, and the Riddler shoots him. The Riddler shoots Falcone. He is dead, and Batman's like, damn, I brought the rat to the light, like the Riddler asked. And he looks up at this little windowsill, and the Riddler runs away. And as Batman's trying to run, he runs up the stairs instead of grappling hook. He runs up the stairs and knocks down the door, and he sees the whole Riddler's hideout right next to the fucking nightclub that they've been in 3 separate occasions. And the Riddler's gone. But they do get a 911 call about a man, and a weird man, heavy breathing, right next to the nightclub, right next to Riddler's home, asking them to call. I guess either the weird man asked the police to be there, or the workers there called the police and told them that there's a weird man here. And as they get there, they find out that it is the Riddler because, he's being weird as one, and two, he has a question mark in his cappuccino. So, you put 2 and 2 together. He's weird, has a question mark. He has to be the Riddler. So they take him to the Gotham GCPD building. As the Riddler's there, Batman is looking around, looking over the Riddler's whole hideout that they didn't even know was there until just now. And as he's looking around, he realizes that the Riddler found out who he was. And this is where the oh shit moment hits, because there has been times where the Riddler found out who Batman was. Like, case in point, Batman and Robin. Jim Carrey knew who Batman was. This time, when Batman finds out that the Riddler knows who he could be, Batman was like, this could be the end of the Batman. And Jim was like, what the fuck does that mean? And as he walks away, he sees that one of the little test rats that the Riddler had didn't really fuck with Batman that well. And he's like, I think that rat doesn't like you. And he's like, it's not a rat, and it's a bat. It's a bat. And as he goes to let the bat out, and he sees that there's another note from the Riddler for the Batman, says that this is the murder weapon, and it's the little carpet blade he used to kill the mayor. And as he goes back to the Riddler, he lets the Riddler know that, hey, we found the weapon, we found out your hideout, what you've done. And this is where it gets a little confusing, because it looks like from how they set the scene up, that the Riddler knows who Batman is from the little pictures and the little hideout. And when he's talking to Batman, he's like, hey, they will all know who you are, and that this is our mission. This is what we wanted to do. And so it switches from, he knows that Bruce is Batman, to, Batman, we're working together. This is your plan, that you wanted us to do this. And Batman starts to gaslight the hell out of this man. He says, this is not what I wanted us to do. This is not my goal. This is not what I wanted. They will know that you did this, that this is all your plan. And the look of upset and fury and confusion on the Riddler's face says, He's like, no, this is not just what I wanted. This is what you wanted too. And he's like, no, this is not what I wanted. I didn't tell you to do this. He's like, no, that's not what you told me. You told me you wanted to do this. And he's like, no, I didn't tell you to do this. Like he's just gaslighting the fuck out of this man. And I'm like, okay, that was actually kind of funny. I actually got a good chuckle out of that scene where he's gaslighting the hell out of him. Like this man oddly got upset and he was like, no, they this is not what I wanted. They needed to know. They needed to know that this is our plan together. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know this man. This is not my plan. Like this man is crazy. Whatever he says or whatever he's trying to prove, he's crazy. He's a crazy man. Don't listen to him. But Batman goes back to the Riddler's hideout to see if there's any more clues that he could have missed. He takes the carpet, I'm gonna call it a carpet knife. I don't know the actual term. He takes the carpet knife and then breaks up the carpet that's at Riddler's home. I think he figured out that he needed to do that from some way. No, the police officers there told him that, hey, that's a carpet knife. They use that to bring up carpets. And for whatever reason, Batman was like, let me bring up Riddler's carpet. And he tore up Riddler's carpet and he saw that there was a map of Gotham. And as he's reading the map of Gotham, there was like a password to unlock his computer. And as he unlocked his computer, we are given a the piece de resistance of fuckery of this whole movie. This man Riddler, whether it was on the dark web, whether if it was on Twitch, on YouTube, I don't know what. This man live react to his murder, like to his whole plan, to 50, hold on, because I wrote the number down, to 507 viewers. This motherfucker has more viewers, more followers than my black ass. He had 500 viewers and 500 subscribers watching him, giving him props on how to make bombs to put out through the cities, letting them know that, hey guys, this is the Riddler coming at you live, and we're about to go and bring up the corruption in Gotham. So what I need you guys to do is get your GIMP masks at your neighborhood Walmart. Remember to get your duct tape, get your assault rifles, and your green trench coat. And we're going down to the stadium once we blow up the little dams all over Gotham. And he blows up the dams in Gotham, and the water starts to rush in. Everyone that's in the slums of Gotham goes to the little stadium. And as they're at the stadium, all 507 of his subscribers decided to dress up as the Riddler and take sniper rifles and wait up in the little ducks area. It starts to pop everyone that's in there. Which is where we get to the next big L scene that Batman takes. He's fighting all these guys up at the front, not up at the front. He's fighting all these guys up on the ducks at the stadium, and he's beating up on some of them, but there are, I want to say maybe it's just because there's too many of them, but these YouTube followers or Twitch followers beat up on him to the point at which they are dragging him by his cape. Like this man got knocked down and he is being dragged by his 150 scrawny ass by these followers. These YouTube followers are beating up on the Batman. And I'm like, at this point, we're at the tail end of this movie. It's like maybe I got like 15 more minutes. So like, I'm upset, but I'm gonna see this through. I'm like, there has to be a reason for why the Batman is getting dragged by his scrawny ass by his cape. So after they get done dragging his ass and he's like, no, I'm not about to be humiliated anymore, he gets shot in the fucking chest and then gets knocked unconscious, to the point at which Catwoman had to come in and save him. And as Catwoman's coming in to save him, it's like, hey, no, sit this one out. It's okay, honey. It's okay. I got this. You did good, sweetie. You did good. She starts to beat up on some of the Riddler guys. And as she's beating up on the Riddler's men, one of them gets the drop on her, and he starts to choke her out. And so Batman's trying to get up. He's like, no, this is my movie. I'm not about to let you upstage me. I'm not about to. And so he hits himself with some adrenaline and starts to run over and starts beating the fuck on this guy, to the point at which the commissioner head is like, hold on, Batman. He's had enough. He's like, no, he's beating up on me. I can't let him talk bad about my name. And as they like finally tear him away, it's like, who are you? And they asked one of the only conscious Riddler's men alive? And he's like, who are you? And they looked at him and says, we are vengeance. And that's when Batman was like, damn, I can't be vengeance anymore. I have to be more than vengeance. I have to be something better. And as he's had this epiphany, the people down at the stadium level, that's actually at the stadium, are drowning. They are, because the water has rushed into the stadium. They were drowning, and the little stadium, little Megatron, Megadome thing. I don't watch football or sports, so I don't know the little thing. But the thing that has the scores on it is starting to fall off, and it's electrifying the water, and people are getting either drowning or they're electrifying. They're electrocuted. So Batman jumps over to it. He grabs it and he takes his insignia, which come to find out, we knew about this earlier before the movie, but Batman took the gun that killed his parents and he melted it down as the insignia on his chest. So he comes down and he takes the little insignia and he cuts it. And you're thinking that he's gonna die because they're playing it with this sad ass music in slow motion. He cuts that shit off, falls down, and the slow motion music is killing me. Like the slow motion, they're playing it, and he's falling in the slow motion. He falls down, and he falls into the water, and the motherfucker hops back up. He hops up like he didn't get electrified or nothing. Like I was like, okay, if he didn't get electrocuted and he didn't die from the fall, what was the point of the sad music? What was the point of the slow motion? I did not understand that. That shit upset me the hell. I was like, there was no point in him, like, there was no point in the slow motion. There was no point in him falling. There was no point in the sad music. If he was just gonna walk up and it was like, I'm alive. I'm okay, guys. I'm okay. But yeah, so that part also upset me. And so as we find out that he saved the day, once again, Batman saves the day from the crime. The Riddler is watching this from his TV in prison, and we're cut to what I either assume is Two-Face or the Joker, which we'll watch that in a second because I'm almost done with this. And he's telling them that, hey, you want a friend, someone that actually believes in you, someone that's going to work together with you to help you cause chaos and bring darkness to the light. And I'm hoping, at first I was hoping that it was Two-Face because I felt like they were doing a lot of similarities to Batman and Robin. And the guy himself, like the guy, you only saw his like one side of his face in the dark. And the side that you saw was fucked up, but the other side, it kind of looked okay. So like I was like, it's either the Joker or the Riddler. The only reason why I thought it was the Joker after the fact was because they were both laughing and the laughter wasn't as like evil. It was like haha, like Joker's laugh, kind of, sort of. So I was like, okay, maybe it's the Joker. Maybe they got us a better Joker. So now that we have this deleted scene that we're gonna watch in a second, maybe it was Joker. So maybe in the sequel they'll have the Joker and the Riddler as opposed to the Riddler and Two-Face. I don't know. But yeah. So at the end of the movie, Batman, he helps out the people that basically that are left in the stadium. He gets them to safety. Selina Kyle goes somewhere else. She gets on her motorcycle and she drives away. Commissioner's the new Commissioner Gordon. Alfred's back in the house because he's better now. And end credits. Batman now realizes that he has to be more than just vengeance. To be honest with you guys, that movie, if you want a good adaptation to Batman has this similar story but done well, I would honestly say that you could play the Telltale Batman series because they actually do a better story of the Waynes being corrupt. And I felt like this movie was trying to do that, but it just didn't do it well. But yeah, that personally, it was not my best Batman movie. And I will say that while there were good scenes in the movie, it just Batman himself was not carrying the movie as he should. I really haven't liked a recent Batman movie since The Dark Knight, which I know that I'm biased because I'm a Joker fan and like that one had the Joker in it. But while I wasn't a fan of Ben Affleck's Batman, his Batman was better than Robert Pattinson. And maybe in the sequel they'll do him justice so that way he's better. Because I think Batman v Superman, Ben Affleck was bad, but Justice League, Batman was better. So maybe they just need a second go around. But with that being said, we will now watch the deleted scenes with the Batman Arkham deleted scenes with the Joker. So let's get into that. So this is the Robert Pattinson, Barry Keoghan Batman Arkham deleted scenes. Okay, I will say before we continue this that I was really hoping um that they had oh, what is his name? Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker's character Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill as the Joker in this. I really was hoping because like I saw clips of what he looks like, not a whole clip of it, but like the lower mouth and like kind of the upper eyes, and I was thinking maybe they got Mark Hamill in it to do the Joker, but they didn't. But I was kind of hoping that they did that.
Mm. Present. Almost our anniversary, isn't it?
There's a serial killer. I want your perspective.
First anniversary games, paper. What makes you think I come so cheap?
I thought you'd be curious.
You think I could offer this stuff?
Don't you?
You have pictures. It's violence. It's so baroque. Oh, he likes little puzzles, doesn't he? So meticulous. Like he's been planning this his whole life. I know who he is.
Oh. Who is he?
He's a nobody. Wants to be somebody. The mayor, the commissioner. Yeah. He's got ambition.
You think his motive is political?
Oh, no. This is very, very personal. He feels these people have all wronged him. Probably goes way back. Unhealed wounds, stolen lunch money.
I forgot to mention that the Riddler's motivation was the fact that he was in an orphanage that which it was actually very important. I don't know why I forgot to mention that. Riddler's motivation for why he was doing this is that he was in the orphanage that Thomas Wayne and a bunch of other people were working to get shut down. Um, so that was why he was doing this. Kind of a bit of a spoiler for the movie, but hey, it's gonna like it's in the retelling of this. So like, yeah, his whole motivation was that he was trying to get revenge from the orphanage that he was living at that they let get old and decrepit and run down.
Why is he writing to me?
Maybe he's a fan of yours? Or maybe he's got a grudge against you, too. Maybe you're the main course. theories?
Not yet.
Really? You're normally so ahead of the curve. But something is different this time. This is very upsetting to you.
Let's get back to him.
Why? You're so much more fun.
I'm not here to talk about me.
What are you here to talk about?
I want to know how he thinks.
You know exactly how he thinks. Have you read this file? You two have so much in common. Masked Avengers. So he's even more righteous. Oh, are you afraid he makes you look soft?
You're wasting my time.
Okay. I'll tell you what I really think. I think you don't really care about his motives, whether he loves or hates you. I think somewhere deep down, you're just terrified. Because you're not sure he's wrong, huh? You think they deserved it, huh? You think they deserved it.
Okay. So I actually like that. I actually like the Joker's look. Especially with us just having like after it was a nice refreshing look of it, kind of pay homage to I can't think of his name. The Dark Knight's Joker. Heath Ledger. Yeah. It paid homage to his kind of his design for his Joker, while also giving us a bit of Gotham's Joker, where, or I guess Joker like, because his face is scarred up from whatever the fuck has happened to him. His hands are bloody and scabbed, and his nails look like they've been ripped off. Which, if you know anything about Joker, the reason why it's so hard to find out who he is or know anything about him is because when he when he went into the chemical spill, it burned off all of his fingerprints, made it incredibly hard to like get any DNA or any like kind of it's basically hard to just DNA track him, or at least figure out who he actually is. So I kind of can see that in this, and people have been using a certain comic for this Joker. There's a comic where they it's all about the Joker. It's only about the Joker's life, and it's a more gruesome Joker. And one of the scenes that they show, which again shouts out to Valorant. It's the comic book YouTube channel that I watch. They were the one that put me on game on this comic, where this Joker is a very gruesome one. It's like a story where he, for whatever reason, he is he came back into Gotham, and he's trying to recapture like his I guess his ferociousness, or like reclaim his city. And he finds Harley at the strip club, and the guy that's there at the strip club that's basically talking down to her, he basically skins this man alive and has him go out and dances on the pole without his skin before he ultimately dies. And so I feel like this is that type of Joker that they're giving us, is that same Joker, especially since if this is the same Joker that if it's canon to the Ben Affleck Joker, we may get a Jason Todd storyline as to what happened to Jason Todd, and how Joker says that this is what happens when you bring people into the game into our game. I don't think we're gonna get him shooting Barbara Gordon, but it would be nice to see if we get him a live action Jason Todd movie with it. But yeah, that was my take on the Batman 2022 with Robert Pattinson. Personally, if you guys want a good Batman movie, I honestly still say that you can up-to-date Batman movie, I would still say watch the Dark Knight movies. If you want a better retelling of this story where the Waynes are corrupt, and they're not as holy as everyone has painted them to be in other renditions of the Batman, then play the Telltale series, or watch someone play the Telltale series, because they do a better story of that. Now, now, does the Telltale series have their own faults? Definitely so. But I feel like in terms of telling this specific story, they do a better job of doing that. But that's my story. Well, that's my take of this movie. If you guys have your own take, please let me know. I like to hear what other people think on this. And if you think I'm just blowing smoke up people's ass, or my take on this is completely off wrong, excuse me, or if you think my take is completely wrong, please let me know. I like to hear what other people think, because other people say that they like this movie, and I like to see why they like this movie. But with all that being said, I've been your host, King Lion of Vlogs, and you guys have been amazing, and I'll catch you again next time. Peace.